Alright, good morning everybody and welcome to our AM feeding session with our little penguin colony here at Penguin Point. Has everyone had an enjoyable morning so far? Yeah, that's what we like to hear, guys. We'll try and make it a bit more exciting as our colony makes their way out of the water into the trade this morning. So I will introduce myself and my team. So my name is Jackson, we have Jacob and Heidi. So we are the animal care team, or part of the animal care team here at SeaWorld. One of the highlights of our day, guys, without a doubt, as you can probably already guess, is coming and interacting with our great little colony here at Penguin Point. Now I'll explain how we do tell our little penguins apart a little bit. So Jacob and myself have been working here long enough now. Believe it or not, we can actually tell all of our 35 residents just by what they physically look like, by their physical characteristics, how we can tell them apart. But if we are struggling on any given day for a particular reason, we can rely on the little flipper tag system that we do use as well. So one tag on the left, like Delta, who's about to jump in the water with the light green on the left-hand side are our females. And one tag on the right, like Dirk, with the bright red on his right at the tray at the moment, are our males. Now, rest assured, you're not seeing double, you're not going crazy. We do have a few residents as well, like Periwinkle, he's on the edge of the pool with the Christmas colours red and green. We do have 17 individuals who are double banded at the moment. Now that's just simply because we went through 2 breeding seasons 5 years ago, where we had 17 chicks born over 2 years. So our colony pretty much doubled overnight. So as I said, we do have 35 individuals called Penguin Point home at the moment. So we did decide to double band all 17, just so we could keep an extra close eye on them when we did introduce them to their exhibit, to their other colony members as well, and just to see how they fitted into the hierarchy system as well. So just to keep a little close eye on them. And it's their own unique identifier too. So as you can imagine, if we're only going to tag a penguin with one tag, we're going to run out of combinations pretty quickly as well, because they only make the tags in 7 different colour varieties too. So it's their own unique identifier. So for example, Dot, who's at the tray right now, she's a female, so she is tagged on with the dark blue for the year that she was born. We allocate a colour every single season to if we have any chicks born. So it doesn't matter if we have 1 chick born or 20 over that season, they'll all be tagged the same colour. So she was just given the light green designation on her opposing flipper, just to make it a bit more unique so we can tell her apart from everybody too. Now I'm going to stop myself and introduce you to the penguin who just arrived at the tray, just having a fish right there with the dark green flipper tag on his right hand side. Has anyone in the crowd seen the Australian film Oddball at all? Show of hands? Yep. So that little penguin right there, guys, he was in the movie. So he played Pocket for majority of that film. Now I'll introduce you to Chip. Now he's a very good looking penguin and he's quite large for his species as well, so you can go home saying that you've met a celebrity here at Penguin Point today, which is pretty cool. But we actually sent 6 of our residents down to play the penguins in the movie, or play some of the penguins in the movie I should say, because there's more than 6 in the film. Now the reason why that lovely gentleman over there to my right was chosen to be a part of that filming is because the filming was due to take place during our breeding season here at Penguin Point. So just before we were approached to send 6 of our crew members down, so the way it works for this species, guys, it doesn't matter how big Chip is, how strong, how muscular, how many fish he can eat. If he can't build a nice looking nest, he doesn't get a girlfriend. It's really that simple. If he can't channel his interior decorator skills to attract that girl, he's not going to get a female girlfriend, which is quite sad in some respects as well. So, yeah, not too sure why it is that particular way for this species, but that's how it works for this species for you here today. Now, he's always been known as the greatest nest builder we've ever had here at Penguin Point, but the rules of building a nice nest to attract a girl never work for him. Looks like 2 females are having a bit of a throwdown over there. That's okay though. Bit weird. It always happens during our feed time, so that's alright. So he always built a nice looking nest, but the rules of building a nice looking nest to attract a girl never worked for him. So just before he was picked, he decided to get a little bit more intelligent. So what he did, he went next door to the male burrow next door, he booted him out, and he decided to build 2 nests side by side to try and double his chances to attract that girlfriend. Show of hands, who thinks that little trick worked for him? Oh, hang on, I've got a few people throwing their hands up here. You would be wrong. I'm sorry, guys. So he wasn't an ideal candidate to send down to the filming because he wasn't very busy during our breeding season when the filming was due to take place. But if you saw a little penguin, I did think she made her way, but she's actually in the water right there with the single red flipper tag on her left-hand side. So as soon as he was down on the Victorian film set, he did meet his first love. She's in the water at the moment. Her name is Edith, doing a bit of a swim by around that rock at the moment with the red flipper tag on her left-hand side. I do like to point out that for the previous about 3 to 4 years before they were down on the film set, they had been living here the entire time together. So maybe it just took the little film star status for him to attract a girlfriend. A bit similar in the human world, I guess. Maybe celebrities are a bit more attractive to females too. Similar principle for little penguins maybe as well, who knows. But any scenes in the film where basically the colony or the penguins in the film are doing point A to B running. So when I say point A to B running from one side of the screen to the other. That little penguin over there is at the head of the pack, and he's running to his brand new girlfriend every single time because she's just out of camera shot, being held off screen by one of us keepers as a bit of a lure. So as you can imagine, he's scored his first girlfriend. He doesn't know how it's happened because he's done the right thing for his entire life, built a nice looking nest. So he doesn't want to be separated from her one iota at that time. So it was really handy. Basically, the training that was required in the film was point A to B training. So it's very handy that when the leader of the pack wants to run straight across the screen every single time, they are a colony species by nature, so if one goes, they're all going to go. So it was really handy for the filming shots that they needed as part of the filming. But when they did return to us here at Penguin Point straight after that filming was wrapped up, they did have the first successful chick of our breeding season. So Chip and Edith became first-time parents, which was nice. Now if you see a little penguin, the penguin who's closer to me with the little yellow flipper tag, that's Oddball, who is Chip and Edith's firstborn son. That is his partner. So his little burrow is the one that's the first hole on this bottom shelf area. He has one tag yellow and one tag blue. So I'll try and point him out. He's probably at home at the moment because Bambi's out at the moment. But we are in breeding season at the moment, so one parent will always be at home on the eggs if they do have eggs in the burrow for that incubation period. So they do have eggs at the moment, so Bambi's out, so I'm thinking Oddball's probably at home at the moment. But it's quite nice to see that every once in a while when Chip's done with his feet, he goes over and he pokes his head in that little burrow area just to see how Oddball's going. They do look quite alike, and Oddball's quite big as well, just like his dad, so it's pretty easy to spot. I'll point it out if I do see him throughout the feed as well. I'll introduce you to our youngest resident as well. So everybody's fully grown here, guys. They reach full adult size after 9 weeks of age, so very short childhood. But our youngest resident is just behind me right now, about to go back into the burrow. She's turning 3 in December this year, so we haven't had any chicks born in the last couple of breeding seasons here at Penguin Point. But as I said, we are in the middle of breeding season at the moment, and we have a couple of parents or a couple of pairs who are on eggs at the moment. So in the next week or two, hopefully we'll have some little young ones hatch, which would be quite cool. So we allocate a breeding or a theme for every single season that we do have as well. So we've had different beer brands. I don't know why someone chose Han because that's an absolutely appalling taste of a beer. But we have different things like that. We've had a grandparents season. So Betty, who's just making her way to the water, she was born in that season. We've got Cornelius, Peg, we've got Bart and Lisa, who are from Simpsons. Peaches, we had a fruit year. So Peaches is our second oldest resident who's just making her way out now. Now, to give you a bit of an idea just how incredible that particular little penguin is, guys. So little penguins as a species normally live an average life expectancy of about 7 to 8 years in the wild. The little individual who just jumped in the water, she has a dark green flipper tag on. She's turning 19 this year. And her older brother, who is actually our oldest resident at the moment, he turned 20 2 weeks ago. So we are very lucky that we do have quite an older colony. So we do have quite a few residents who will double and even triple that wild life expectancy as well. That could be for a couple of reasons. They don't have to find their own food, so they get their food twice a day, once in the morning and once in the afternoon. We have a vet team on call who has just turned up. This is our lovely vet Claire up here at SeaWorld. So she's just coming to do a couple of checks on a few of our guys for once a month check. And we also don't have to worry about any predators stealing any of our penguins either. We just have to worry about the seagulls stealing their food. So that's pretty much why we can kind of pinpoint why some of our crew members, their stress levels are greatly reduced for those reasons. So they do live quite long and extended lifespans with us as part of our colony. Now you might have noticed that a couple of our crew have gathered in this kind of area of the exhibit after they've come over to the trade this morning. Now they are a colony species by nature, but one of the most commonly asked questions that we get is, are they cold? Because you'll see them start to shiver and shake in the next couple of minutes after they've eaten. Now the reason why they're starting to develop this little shivering and shaking behaviour looks like they're trying to take off a little bit. So wagging their tail feathers, wagging their flippers a little bit. So Jack's giving himself a bit of a preen over there as well, but he's been doing it as well. So that little behaviour that Bambi's just developed as well. So the reason why they do this is because they can eat up to a quarter of their body weight in food every single day over those 2 feet. So they have a very fast metabolism for their size. So that's basically just them kick-starting that little metabolism to digest that massive amount of food that they might eat during either feed. So they could eat that massive amount of food in 1 feed, or they might spread it over 2. It's really just down to their personal preference, what they feel like doing at the time. They might be trying to sub their partners out throughout the feed as well. So one parent will come out at the start, and then they'll go tag out the other one if they're on eggs. Now, does anyone want to take a little penguin home as a pet today? Show of hands for me. Yeah, what about if I tell you they poo every 17 minutes? Oh, still got a few hands thrown up, yeah. Mum's one's taken over. It'll probably be you that takes care of the mum after 2 or 3 days at home. So that is the reason why they go to the bathroom so often as well, guys. So eating a quarter of their body weight in food every single day. These guys will go to the toilet 60 to 65 times on average per individual. Now, Oddball's just made his way to the radar, so you can see the little prodigy of the film as well. Now, we will make our way to the water in the next couple of minutes' time, that's just simply because some of our residents prefer to eat in the water. It's a natural foraging behaviour for them. It's how they would find their food out in the wild as well. We do try and condition from a very young and early age. So classic example being able to have a vet come down and watch the penguins come to the trace. You can do a really good full body check on them, check all their eyes, beaks, tail feathers, how they're moving, their general energy levels, what their feather condition looks like as well. But we have to give everybody the best possible chance to get food during both of our feeds as well. So some of our residents have gravitated to prefer to eat in the water, which is totally fine as well. We can just do a general body check on them when they're making their way back to their burrows after the feed. But if anyone has any questions they'd like to ask about any particular resident in general, or little penguins in general, feel free to hang around and ask as many questions as you might have, guys. Otherwise, if animals are your thing for today, at 11:30, so in about 34 minutes time, straight through those blue signs in the stadium on the right is the Affinity Dolphin presentation. It should be on this afternoon as well. I think it's on a couple of times today. So if you've got other plans, feel free. I think it's on about 2:30, 2:45 this afternoon as well. If we don't see you this afternoon, guys, 3 o'clock is when they get their afternoon food. It's been a pleasure having you all here today, and we'll see you next time. Cheers. Bye for now.